Put out stickers, like little stickers. Yeah.
Small crowd. I could probably get some microphone. You can probably all hear me. Yes. Okay, good. Need microphone.
Well, but can the YouTubers hear?
It's
Yeah.
not as bad anyway, right?
No, but I mean, it's probably fine. It's fine. You're
Said
good.
all of us, who can hear me? I can talk really loud.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Yeah, I definitely have that teacher voice. I don't like being on stage either. If I could do the PowerPoint from down here, I would. I just don't like microphones and I don't like being on the stage. I have no problem talking to all of you, I just don't like being up here. But anyway, since I'm up here and far, far away too, I can keep my mask off so you can hear me. But I'm Dr. Christine Hillman, in case any of you don't know who I am. This is what I look like without a mask on. So I figure next year I have to learn the kids all over again because I'm used to just seeing from here up. And then they take their masks off and I'm like, who are you? So let's hope that I actually get to learn their faces next year. All right, here we go. My plan is to do a little presentation. It's 15, 20 minutes long and then save some time for some questions. But again, 7 o'clock is the end time, or we can be here till midnight. Just going over our boards a little bit. Our school board, we kind of got it up and running at the beginning of last year, so over the summer. So some of these members have been with us all year, and we have a few new ones. Our president is John Fiore, who I believe was on the school advisory board last year. Had kids who went through here and have now all graduated. Our vice president for this next year, and then soon to be president, Noel Savaggio. Got to see him in the audience. And then our members, we have Ryan Duggan, who's here, Michael Gibbons, Kim Jordan, Stacy Mulcairn, Caitlin Schlee, I haven't said that wrong before, Julie Weiss, and then Allison Whalen. Allison, Kim, and
Stacy.
Stacy, thank you, are all joined us in May and will be on the board for next year. So there are new members. Great. Parents Club. Our president is Ann Salvador. Our vice president, Julie Weiss, who's also on our school board. Finance, Larissa Boyle. Our secretary, Stephanie Park. Membership and marketing, Stacey Lowry. Group parent coordinators, Pam O'Connor. Teacher appreciation, Kathy Stevens. She did an awesome job this year with everything. Patty, we appreciate that. Hospitality, Julia Dombrowski. And then when I showed this today to teachers, teacher liaison is Ms. Capone, she says, wait, I have to do it again next year? And I said, yeah, because they love you so much. I said, no, we'll go over it at the beginning of the year. But she was this past year. We'll see if she wants to hand the job off yet, but since we just started meeting, maybe she'll want to try it, and it's actually more in-person meetings than on Zoom, so that's might be to be determined. And then our finance council, our business manager, Don McKay, part-time business manager, John Fiore again, who's our school board liaison, Tim Jacobs, Bill O'Hara as our president, Don Quirk is our secretary, I believe she's in the parish, and then director of operations to be determined once we have replaced Kathy Collins. And then in the works right now, we're working on the parish council. I don't know if you've seen the bulletin, but they're looking for either to nominate yourself, or if you know somebody who would be really good on the parish council, to go ahead and nominate them. Father will reach out to them to see if they want to be a part of it. And then as a school board, we're also looking at alumni. We can keep some of our alumni, starting with our 8th grade class that just graduated, and how we can keep them connected into the school and build that alumni pool from now until somebody else takes it over. Okay. Here's the stuff everybody wants to know about. ELA for junior high, as you know, was a rough year this year. We lost our junior high teacher in September. Very challenging to find a teacher in the middle of the school year. We are fortunate that Ms. Kathy Foch, who has been a sub here for us, stepped into the role. But we do have a certified ELA teacher coming next year for junior high. Her name is Ann Curtin. She has taught at Holy Cross for many years. She was at Woodlands for a few years. And then most recently, she's been in St. Anastasia up in Waukegan. She has over 25 years experience as an ELA, as well as social studies teacher, as well as religion. When she was at Woodland, she was really focused on religion for the girls there. So I've worked with her before, so I know she's an excellent teacher, and she's really excited. She's coming in next week, Tuesday already, to bring in her stuff and check out the classroom. And she's already met Mr. Leach and Miss Dottie. We all interviewed together, so they are already familiar with Ms. Kirk. So she will be a great addition to our staff next year in the junior high. Physical education, as you know, Miss Nuzzo is moving. She lives in Wisconsin. Apparently, we attract a lot of people from Wisconsin. So she found a job closer to her house as well. So she is leaving us. So we have hired Donna Hayes. For the last 13 years, she's been athletic director and PE teacher at Faith Open Charity. She's looking for something a little bit closer. Her youngest daughter is starting at St. Juliana in kindergarten. So she will actually be with us part-time 3 days a week. And then she will be at Juliana's 2 days a week. So we're kind of sharing a teacher because it's really hard to find a part-time teacher, especially with what the Catholic school pays. So to share a teacher and give them a full-time salary and benefits is very helpful. So we were fortunate that St. Juliana needed another part-time teacher to go with their full-time PE teacher. So for next year, we'll be sharing her. So she'll be between the two schools. And then technology, John Smith is going to take that role over again. He, I believe, was doing it just last year. So he will be with us 3 afternoons a week. He's going to help us with our elementary technology, as well as our junior high electives that I'll get to in a minute. So he will be with us 3 days a week teaching, and then he'll still do the other piece of technology that he's been doing this year, more the IT part and problem solving and helping teachers out with their tech issues, which he's been doing this year already. At the end of September, so we will be looking for a junior high science and social studies maternity leave, probably from the end of September all the way through till after Christmas break. And then sometime after that, depending on when she's back with us. So that will be forthcoming. Okay. Accomplishments. Yes, we survived. I shouldn't say it, I got 1 day left. We did it. I mean, I'm actually really proud of our students, our staff, the parents, because it was definitely a combined effort. We wouldn't have been able to do that if you didn't keep your kids home when they were sick, or if the kids didn't keep their masks on or hand sanitize every 5 minutes if they could. We only had 3 quarantines, and then and that was throughout the entire year. And even within those quarantines, it never spread. So we would have one student that tested positive, quarantined the class, but nobody else in that group ever got it. So it wasn't spreading here in school, which shows that we were doing everything that we were supposed to and really keeping our kids safe. So we're all very proud of that we really were not the super spreaders here in school. So we did survive. So 1 year down, and I don't know how many more to go. We have increased enrollment. When I got here in July, we were about 180. Right now, we're at 210. So we did get a few CPS students over the school year. We do have some that are thinking about coming for next year. Because again, I don't know what CPS is doing. And once we get them, most of the ones, I think there's all but one of the ones that came are staying. And that is key for us too. We don't just want to get them for a couple of months and then they go back. We don't want to be their babysitters. We really want to make sure that they're getting the best education and that they feel a part of our community. So even in all of this, they liked it enough and they enjoyed it enough that they want to stick around and try it for another year. So again, that's a credit to our teachers who really included these students in the classrooms and everything that they were doing, as well as keeping the families in the loop too. So we're going to keep reaching out and grabbing those families. I know that over the summer we'll get a few more, especially with our little guys, because our preschoolers tend to register over the summer, so we'll keep increasing that. We're looking at 197 right now for next year. With our kindergarten almost full, we have 24 in there right now. And our preschool, we're at 12 and 13, so I know that we'll get a few more. I have two tours set up next week for kindergarten and preschool, So those numbers, I'm sure, will keep increasing. Whereas our junior high, those numbers are pretty much set. We upgrade our staff technology. I don't know if anybody knows, but all the teachers still had desktops, which made remote teaching really challenging because you're dragging that thing home. So every teacher got a laptop. We used our title funds to purchase laptops for the teachers so that they could A, do their work at home or take the computer wherever they wanted to go. Especially this year when we had the specialist teachers going to the classrooms. The teachers didn't have their own classroom to sit and do work, so a lot of them would take their laptop and work somewhere else. And also for remote teaching, it was a huge, the Chromebooks are good, but laptops are much better for remote than we had to do after Christmas or any time the class was starting. So all the teachers got new laptops. Okay, I changed my PowerPoint, it didn't change here, but okay. Strange, because now what I added, I won't forget. We did get new Chromebooks using our title funds. We have a brand new cart that came in about April that we're gonna push out for next year. We put the order in a long time ago. Everything was just back ordered. As you know, Chromebooks are really hard to get any type of device, so that will roll out for next year. We were able to do some events this year. Woo! We did our 8th grade award ceremony. Again, everything was a little bit different, but it was still there. We just celebrated our 8th grade graduation Monday night, which I think was a huge success. Tomorrow we have kindergarten graduation, hence the little chairs. Every class, they had a field day or an activity day. They still went to the park. So it may not have been the same as it's always been, but it was something, and I think our kids still were able to really enjoy themselves and get back to something at the end of the year that they're going to remember. Man, that this didn't change. Like, no, there's something on there, I forget it. We started a chapter in National Junior Honor Society, so we applied for it. We put a committee together. We have all the qualifications that students can get on that for our junior high. So in the beginning of the school year, we'll roll that out. We'll put it on our website. We'll talk to the kids about it too, so they know at the beginning of the school year, this is what you need to do to get on to National Junior High, and we'll share that with the parents as well. So that at the end of the, about May, we can, we start in February, we start sending out the invites, or March, after a second trimester, sending out the invites. They have to apply for it, they have to fill out their applications, they have to go through a whole process with the committee, and then in May, we can actually induct students into the National Junior Honor Society, which will then roll over into next year too, and they'll stay on that. So that was something that was a big part of what we were able to do this year and get that committee going and figure out our qualifications. We started a tuition assistance fund. If anybody knows anybody who would like to donate some funds to that, basically for families who may not qualify for Empower Illinois or Big Shoulders because they have very strict qualifications for the finance level, we have our own tuition assistance fund that goes through FACT, so they're still applying, they're still sending in tax information, you know, it's not just handing it out to everybody, but this could be, you know, some family just ran into an emergency and they need a little extra for their tuition this month, or maybe, you know, they lost their job and they need something for the year. So it's more of a private fund that we're having here inside the school, but still using facts to, you know, see who qualifies for it, not just giving it out. Like I know there's families, you know, if they don't want to do Empower Illinois because maybe they are not paying taxes, or not paying taxes, they're not paying the salary tax. So it's not a benefit to them. So they'd rather just give the money straight to the school so that we get all of it. So if you know anybody who wants to donate, send them my way. And then we did a little bit upgrade of our admission and marketing. So our admission, we now have a process. They actually have to apply to St. Elizabeth. They have a whole admission application. It's not that long, it's only 2 pages, but they have an admission application. They send that in. They get an acceptance letter back, or not acceptance, but they've all been acceptance letters so far. Then they fill out their new student tuition form, enroll on facts, and then they then are accepted and enrolled into our school. We put together a whole folder of marketing materials with the application, the process of it. It has our brochures in there. It has frequently asked questions. So we're really trying to, you know, show that we want St. Anne's a place that you want to apply to and make it look, a little bit, not exclusive, but a little bit more fancy. And we've got our signs out there, so please take a sign or 2 or 10. We have our magnets. I see those on the cars all over the place. We have lanyards. We have our spirit wear out there, so we're really trying to get our name out there as much as we can. We did the 8th grade signs, the parents club, graduation signs, and we have the kindergarten graduation signs that were out there too. So again, just trying to get our name out there, especially with our new name, and letting people know that we're here. So our big marketing next year will be the preschool and the kindergarten, and making sure that we get those families to stay. We have a lot of families, that might come from preschool and then leave the public school. So we want to make sure that we hit. Anyone know there's 3 people that just walked in and went that way? Somebody want to see who they are? So that's our accomplishments for this year. Next year we're adding electives in junior high, so we've taken 3 days at the end of the day, and we've put in art classes, music classes, technology classes. There's a debate class. There's a consumer math class, guitar, and then technology. Oh, I don't remember what Mr. Smith did, but we've done it so that kids have that option to take something that appeals to them. So they've had their art, they've had their music, K through 5. They get to junior high, they get to kind of narrow in and hone in on things that they really like. So if they're your creative budding artist, then they're going to want to take maybe the art and the music classes. If they're, in that mathematical mind, they might want to do some of the debate or the consumer math classes. And it's a rotating basis for trimesters, so they're going to get 3 classes over the year, so 9 classes over their entire junior high. The only requirements are we have a study skills class for incoming 6th grade. So every 6th grader will take the study skills class that first trimester. And then we have high school 101 that every 8th grader will take at their last trimester before they leave. Again, because 6th graders are coming in, they have 3 different teachers, they have lockers. So we want to hit them on their first year, and then the 8th graders, we want to make sure that they're prepared for high school. But other than that, they'll be able to pick their classes. So they've turned all their forms in, so now it's just a matter of sitting down and trying to figure out how to schedule that into the classes. So that'll be my summer project at some point. Next year, we're going to go 1-to-1 Chromebooks for 5th through 8th grade. So the specific details on that will come out later, on how we're going to roll that out and what it's going to cost. But this way, then, those students have 1 Chromebook that will be theirs every day. So it'll have their name on it. When they come in, they can take it out of the cart. They can take it with them for the day, depending on if they have homework or depending on how we're going to use them. They can put them back at the end of the day and charge them and then pick them up, and they'll take it with them to all the classes. And all the teachers are aware of this, so they will be incorporating the technology into their class. It's not going to be there all day, every day, but now the students have the capability of pulling out that Chromebook and sitting down and doing IXL, or I have 10 minutes here, I can start working on my science lab. So they'll have that access to their own Chromebook for the next 4 years. We're already playing our all-school musical in March. It's going to be Annie, and actually Mrs. Gold and Miss Gold back there along with Miss Cater have already, they're way ahead of me. I can't even think about tomorrow, and they already have this musical planned of when auditions will be and grades and all that. So we're really excited about that. I'm going to auction off that top auditorium room. It's going to be the skybox of St. Anastasia, and you're going to bid on it, and you can go with your whole family up there, and I'm going to get food and drinks, and you can watch the play right from up there. So that's coming in March. IRAD assessments, as you know, we didn't use the ACT Aspire. ACT Aspire is going away, and that's ACT is doing away with it. It's not us, it's not the Arch. So we all switched to iReady, kindergarten through 3rd grade, and I'm going to show you the scores in a little while. Kindergarten through 3rd grade has been using iReady already, so it wasn't a big transition for them because they already take those 3 tests, the fall, the winter, and the spring. However, it was new for our 4th through 8th graders. Since they had never taken iReady, they may have taken it, maybe our 4th graders took it last year as a 3rd grader, but our older kids, because iReady was just rolled out a few years ago, had never taken it. But that's gonna be the new assessment for next year too. And you'll get your kids' scores tomorrow, with their report card envelopes. And the piece that's missing is that growth piece. So K through 3, you'll see that growth because you'll see the 3 assessments from fall, winter, and spring. For the older kids, 4 through 8, you just see that spring one. But then next year, you'll be able to see that growth of where they were at the end of this year and where they are at the end of next year. And that's what the nice thing about iReady is it's tracking individual growth. But it's just because we just implemented it for the spring, it doesn't tell us as much as we'd like to right away. If you have questions on that, feel free to ask your teacher. There's also a letter that explains the scores on that too. But that's something that we're looking to, we'll be using in the classrooms as well. So it doesn't just have the assessment pieces, but it has the skills in between it. So when they take the test, if they're low on reading comprehension, the iReady program will assign reading comprehension to them. The kids love it because it's all computerized and games and grade. But it will assign a reading comprehension to them for them to work on for the next one. So it works on the skills that they need that extra help with. So it's very individualized. We will have a new reading and grammar series next year for K through 8. That's what it is. Okay. It's my literacy or my perspective, depending on which grade level for our ELA, and then the grammar is Loyola Press. Can't remember the name off the top of my head. So we will have a new reading and a new grammar series starting next year in K through 8. So it'll be the same one. Our hope is that next year to look at math. The following year, then we'll look at science, and the following year, we're going to look at social studies. So each year, we're going to look at our curriculum for that subject and see what we need to revise, where we need to add, where we need to tweak, do we need to start all over again. So that's what we did with reading. We had a lot of samples in. The teachers all sat down. They went through all the samples. We looked at the pros and the cons, and they decided together, since they're the ones who are using the program, they decided what program would best fit the needs of St. Elizabeth students. So that's how we chose our reading and our grammar program. We're going to be adding cursive back into the curriculum. I feel like it's kind of gone away, but our second and third grade, we'll start putting that cursive and the second grade into third grade. But then we're also going to be using it in our 4th through 8th grade, so that they're not just getting it in third grade and then they forget how to use it. And then as it comes to high school, they're trying to sign their name and they know how to do a signature. So we'll be adding it into our curriculum to taught, but then keep on using it throughout the next couple of years, even if they're writing a letter once a week in person. We have a new pre-K, 3 and junior kindergarten curriculum. It's called Investigators. It has math, science, reading, and social studies all wrapped up together. It has a pre-K, junior kindergarten, and transitional kindergarten program. So with some of our accelerated students, we could use that transitional kindergarten program in their junior kindergarten years if they need a little bit extra push too. So that'll be a brand new curriculum for our pre-K and our junior kindergarten kids. Volunteer hours, we're hoping to bring those back. So plan on that. It's a 20-hour mandatory per family. So, you know, we survive on volunteers. So again, we didn't have a lot to do this year that we needed them, except for our recess duty, until we started bringing things back and we got to Queen of Hearts and we realized how many volunteers it really takes to put that on because it is weekly. So, so the volunteer hours right now are going to be instituted back for next year, 20 hours per family. We're still going to keep that Queen of Hearts going. Tomorrow is the last draw for the summer, so make sure you get your tickets before you leave tonight. And then we'll pick it up again at the end of the summer. So that's something that goes on weekly. So that's a huge opportunity to get your volunteer hours because we need it. We're hoping to bring back casino night. Some of you may have gone to the previous casino night. I hear it was a blast. I missed it. But again, another huge event that takes a lot of manpower. So we do have these huge events that we need volunteers, and then throughout the year too. Like we had parents doing recess duty this year again because they couldn't. You know, because we had to separate our recess. Having room parents back in and having them come actually into the classroom and plan the parties for the teachers. So we're hoping that all of that comes right back to us and we can start having our parents in and around the building more often too. You know, obviously unification among the 3 parishes, that's something that has been on everyone's mind and it was a little bit more challenging. when we couldn't do any events, but there's already, talk of events in the beginning of at the end of the summer to kind of bring the families together. And we really want to unify the schools, the parishes, on both sides, and bring in some traditions from the schools, the parishes, as well as start our own for St. Elizabeth too. So, the Send Me Out, that was something that was new for St. Elizabeth that we did with their 8th graders. So we want to, keep the old and bring in some new as well. So we're really going to try and focus on more of that this year, now that we can actually do something. Transparency with the board, as long as goals, plans. We really want to, we've talked about on school board, what can we send out? Parents Club does a great job on sending out, because I know you all read my blast from beginning to end every Thursday, right? Parents Club does a great job of sending out their meeting notes from their minutes. We want to start doing that with school board. Obviously, we can't send everything out because there's confidentiality things in school board, but we want to go back and put out the things that we talked about that we can share with you. So we want to start doing that for our school board meetings. We want to sit down at the beginning of the school year, and the school board is going to come up with what is our long-term goal? Where do we want to see the school in 1 year, in 3 years, in 5 years? And kind of plan that out. And then share that with our parents too. I'm going to put the names of our school board members on our website somewhere, because I know somebody said, oh, we don't even know who's on it. We're talking about making it more maybe an open session at some of our school boards where parents can come in and express their concerns for a small time. And then again, we'll be here till midnight. So we're looking at ways to be a lot more transparent with all of our groups. That includes finance council. They meet quarterly, but maybe putting something together for the finances and sharing that with not only the school families, but the parishioners as well. Whew, okay. I have more. So uniforms. This year was obviously a hodgepodge of uniforms. And so we were very lax. Not just because of the array of uniforms, but also because of the masks and everything else was going on. But now next year we're getting more strict. So it's all St. Elizabeth uniforms. So drop off your old uniforms tomorrow if you have any of the old ones. There'll be boxes outside the doors. But we're going to go back to our traditional St. Elizabeth with the jumpers, the shirts, belts for our 4th through 8th graders, gray socks, black socks, white socks, not colored. We're looking at brown or black shoes. You can find gym shoes that are all brown or all black. So we're really going to start enforcing the uniform a little bit more. The kids look great when they're dressed up in their uniform. They tend to act better. They're a little bit more studious. So just be aware that that's something that, and again, I'm not out to punish all the kids if they, wear a white sock and a gray sock, or maybe one's just a really dirty sock. But and especially at the beginning of the year, but we really want to get back into the kids tucking their shirts in and looking neat, having that nice appearance, especially when we're over at Mass. This year, somebody walked in with an orange Bears sweatshirt. Go Bears, but, it was obviously standing out quite much. So, PE uniforms. Students in grades 4 through 8 are no longer going to wear the PE uniforms to school. They will actually change into their PE uniform when they have PE. For the girls, they could have their shorts on underneath their skirt, easy peasy. They all wear them anyways. But again, when they're dressed up in their full uniform, they just tend to look better. They behave better. They, perform better. They just look nice and they look neat. So only the K through 3 will actually wear the PE uniform on PE days. We will now be offering remote learning next year. Most schools in the Archdiocese, and the schools just feel that our students do better when they're here in person, in class. Hopefully we won't even have to have those issues, but we will not have remote learning here at St. Elizabeth next year. We're planning to go back to all school masses. Again, I put planning because we don't have the guidelines yet. Adding back the prayer buddies in so that they're going with their buddy, they're doing more activities with their buddy. We were so, into isolation this year and keeping everybody away from everybody. So we really want to start integrating that prayer buddies and bringing the older kids with the younger kids and really getting them to know each other. Mrs. Stoll told me when the second graders were all crying when the 8th graders walked by for the Send Me Out their last day, because they did do a few activities. So that's, while I don't really want to make every kid cry, but it really meant a lot that these second graders we're so connected to those eighth graders in that short year. We want to have that for all of our kids. But there's still a lot of unknowns for next year. We don't have any guidelines yet. We're looking about the middle of July. Staff and I are all planning that everything's gonna go back to normal. We're planning on the electives, which would mix kids, 6th, 7th, 8th graders mixed together. We're planning on junior high kids traveling. We're planning on the specials, art being taught in the art room. We have a great room down there, but if she doesn't want to bring paint and mess up everywhere, we only want to mess up one. So we're planning for all that. We're planning to be back in the cafeteria for lunch. We're planning on no temperatures in the morning and having a regular, normal start time and end time. So that's the things we're going to plan for. And then as things come along, if we have to shift things, we will. But we really just want to get back to some sense of normalcy for our kids. But again, I don't have the directives from the arch or anything yet, so we're just going to go along and pretend everything is normal. We're going to walk around here. Okay, so here is our, can't break this down. I know so trouble. This is our iReady scores for reading. This is just our growth model. So this is only our K through 3, because they are the only ones who took the test 3 times this year. So it does not reflect 4th through 8th grade. We had 127% annual growth. According to downtown, that is on target to apply for blue ribbon, 127% for reading. The average in the arch was 120. So our reading, we know, is a really strong reading program. If you look down here at the current placement distribution, again, this is just K through 3, but the green tier, the 61%, tier 1, is our kids who are on target, they're on level. Our yellow is at 37%, those who are just right below that. So that's that little group we just need to push a little bit. And then our at-risk, we have 2%, which out of all the kids could be 1 or 2 children actually, who are at risk, who need a little bit more of a boost to get up to meet their goals. And again, this is not taking into consideration any kids who have IEPs or have any special resources. The iReady test is always on time. The kids have as much time as they want, so that doesn't, we don't have to accommodate for that. The reading test, you can't read to any of the students. So every student who took this test, except if they had a quiet spot, it really, doesn't take it into too much of their accommodations for it. So this is everybody who took the K through 3. And then this one is the K through 8. So this is everybody based only on that last test. So that last test, you'll see our overall placement. The tier 1 is 83%. The arch average is 71. So we are higher than the arch average. Again, 83% of our students are right there on target. We have 11% that are just about there, and we have 6% that are at risk, which is about 10 students because we're counting K through 8. And then it breaks it down to domains about where we actually have to look at. So, we're looking at that comprehension informational text. So that's something that we need to work on with our students to boost that score up a little bit. Tomorrow, when you get your report cards, you'll have your individual kids' score in it, and you can kind of see where they're at. There's also a letter in there, and the back of the letter it explains how to read the scores. Again, it's different than the ACT Aspire, so it's a brand new test for a lot of you, but depending on which grade you might have the 1 or you might have all 3. Then our math growth, again, K through 3 only. We're at about 91%, so we didn't meet that 100% growth target that we wanted to meet, which is our typical growth. We know we have some work to do in math. We know that Eureka math is challenging for our students. We know it's challenging for teachers who are new to it. We already have some PD set up over the summer for the teachers. Yeah, actually all of our math teachers, not just those who are new to Eureka. Friday, we're meeting, the whole staff is meeting as a math group to kind of look at the math program and work on it and support each other. So we know that math is one of our goals for next year. We are at 47% in tier 1, which we were up 21%. We were up at 21% for the first test. So we did do better in our tier 1. Tier 2, we're at 53%, and we don't have any at tier 3, any at-risk students right now for math. The arch average is about 103%, so we're a little bit below the arch average. So math will be a big focus for us next year. And then this is now everybody. So the arch average is 62% at tier 1. We are at 74%, so we're a little bit above the arch average. We have 24% at tier 2, and then add again tier 3, 2%, which is about 10 kids. But again, we were looking at this today as a staff, and we took these tests in early May. Geometry seems to always be the one that we put at the end of the school year. So a lot of teachers said they hadn't even gotten to geometry when they started taking the test in early May. So again, it's something that it's the time of the test too. Maybe we need to throw a little bit of geometry in somewhere earlier in the year to make sure that we hit some of it before we take the test. So again, it's planning those things out to make sure that we hit that geometry. It's a little longer than the 15 and a half minutes earlier, but Mike, if I come down there, can they still see me?
Oh, yeah, we'll just,
I don't know how to get down there, but, I know, there's like a big wooden board here. Oh, okay. I'm much more comfortable down here. So, questions? Did so well, no one has any questions. I like it. Yes.
As far as enrollment is concerned, how do you envision our sweet spot to be? I mean, I know year over year we want to grow, but where will, in your vision, where will we end up? Are we going to be one of those mega regional schools that have 600, 800 kids, or do you think smaller is better for us? What do you think?
You know, I would be happy if we got to 250. What the big thing that we have is that small class size. And small classes, you know, we're not St. Paul La Crosse that has 3 8th grade classes. So, you know, there's that fine line between getting too big and getting too small. And everybody, you know, the money obviously and all that. You know, right now we're looking at almost 25 kindergartners. So we're almost looking at possibly 2 kindergartens if we get a few more students. So again, 250 to me would be a dream. You know, our older kids, they can be 25, 30 kids in junior high, but when you get to kindergarten, 25 kids in the classroom, even with a full-time aide, is a lot of little kids. Yeah. So that's what we have to watch is our enrollment in those little kids.
Okay. And then from that, follow-up question, what's our marketing strategy to get us there?
A lot of it will be targeting our preschool next year and really getting them. We have all of our pre-K3 students are coming back, but we are losing 4 junior kindergarten students going into kindergarten. We're gaining a lot. We have 8 new students going into kindergarten, so that's why it's making up for it. But, you know, and I emailed every family who's leaving and I asked them why. And, you know, a lot of them we knew because they have siblings in the public school. So that's usually a big, you know, indicator that they're not coming back. But we want to make sure that we're targeting those families, even if they have kids in public school. Maybe they want to move their other kid over here because they love it so much. So we really want to engage our preschool and our junior kindergarten families to make sure that they stay. All of our kindergartners are coming back. No, I take it back. I have 1 who's leaving, but otherwise they're all coming back. So that's not where we're losing them. It's that junior kindergarten, preschool, and the kindergarten. So we really want to focus on that. A lot of times, junior high could be a big one too. You know, I would love to get more kids in that 6th grade junior high. We only have 7 kids.
Yeah.
But a lot of them want to make that transition to the junior high if they're going to go on to a private pay school. So that could be another area that we target is that junior high too.
Can I piggyback on Darlene's question? Is there a number that the Arch has given us or anything, like with the whole consolidation, like you need to have 250 students in the next 5 years, otherwise, like, that's it or anything like that?
It really comes down to finances, a lot of it, and how we, you know, my kids' school, they've been under 200 for, well, they have a huge preschool program, but they don't have a lot in the other grades. But they have the funds. So a lot of it will come down to that money and how we budget it. You know, this year took a toll on our budgets with subs and PPE and, you know, trying to use our title fund. So we really need to get ourselves out of that. But there's no, like, everyone always thinks there's this magic number, but there's not. It's really how you can sustain your school. So that's why we need all these fundraisers back next year. Otherwise, we have to double tuition. No, I'm kidding. Yes.
About the exploratory classes at the junior high level. So am I understanding correctly then that all the other kids will still have the same as we've been having with the music, art, and everything? And then, so for the junior high level, instead of doing that, they will have 3 days a week that they will choose. So it'll be instead of.
Correct. They'll still have PE.
Okay.
They'll still have Spanish. That's not part of their electives. That's still a requirement. And then they have a health class 1 semester in 6th, 7th, 8th grade. So their art, their music, and their tech will all now be part of their electives, as well as Mr. Weech is teaching the class, Miss Dottie's teaching the class, and Miss Curtin is teaching the class. So we've not only just pulled in the specials teachers, but we've also pulled in the junior high to focus on.
That's what I was wondering, is Miss Peter teaching?
So Miss Peter, yeah.
Music and art for
Yeah.
everyone and like.
So, and again, because we're taking out the 6th, 7th, 8th grade out of that rotation, so she'll be doing the electives instead. So she might not see every junior high student now this year, because, we have 10 guitars, so, 5th grade was lucky, they all got guitar this year, we only had 8 students, but next year she can only take 10 kids into her guitar class. So we won't, so we'll see her all up to 5th grade, and then they'll all kind of. Yes. Yeah, so we have 2 locker rooms downstairs in the gym, so we'll have a boys and a girls locker.
And who will be supervising that? Because they can't be unsupervised, but with Murda's.
Right. So we have the PE teacher will be 1, we're still working on that for the males and how we're gonna do that. The other option is they change in the bathroom up in junior high before they go down there, and Mr. Weech is outside that door.
The other challenging notice with Murda's, you can't be alone with students in the gym.
So she wouldn't necessarily be all the way down there. She would just be close by. So when we did it in my last school, like the teacher stood outside the doorway so that she's hearing everything. She's, but she's not necessarily down there.
Okay. You know how it gets really.
Right.
It's very, it's a very.
Yeah, and then we did. We're still working that out, but we also thought the bathrooms are an option too. Like, and I had a student who, we didn't have locker rooms in my last school. They actually changed in classrooms that were empty. But I had one student who just wasn't comfortable, and he changed in the bathroom. We had no problem with that too. So.
And
Actually, it took me about 3 months to find them.
Are there lockers?
There are not lockers, no. So we're hoping to get some drawstring bags.
Or something, yeah, because I'm just thinking everybody with the same polo.
Yeah, so we're hoping to get some drawstring.
Same shorts.
We thought we'd either get some drawstring bags, maybe squad locker, or could get some drawstring bags for the kids to put their stuff back in it. Or we thought about getting cubbies where they can put all their stuff in the cubbies. But again, putting their name on anything is so, like, I have 3 nice, beautiful fleece jackets sitting in my office that have no name on them. And I have no one to give them to. I'm like, okay, well, we'll use uniform in August, but yeah, putting their name on everything, even if they're not changing for gym, is key, so that those fleece jackets don't end up in the uniform exchange. Then someone's buying it again back from us. So yes.
So, just to piggyback on that, I don't know, for socially emotional, I'm just hoping maybe there would be some more conversation about this team. I think that's pretty impactful on this page. Changing it. I don't think that's something that.
They do it at the high schools, no?
Mhm.
They do it at high schools, okay.
So-
Yeah, well, no one that I didn't is here. Yeah, I mean, I was talking to Mr. Weech, and about it already too, so we're still working out some of that. Again, that's why we said maybe we use the bathrooms instead. Junior high has 2 floors of bathrooms too. I don't know about the bathrooms in the gym as much. I haven't, one of them, you have to walk through a closet to get to the bathroom. It's very odd setup. So we're still working out all the things about that.
Already myself, I'm going from that stage grade class, that's a distinction from your clothes, some of them.
Yeah.
Louisiana girls, so I'm not really sure socially, emotionally, I mean, maybe we could have an assign out to be kinder, but.
Yeah,
Um,
okay.
just,
and a mother about if they're only wearing that gym clothes for that period of time, then I need an outfit for my child every day. Most of our gals tend to wear skirts, those are like $45. So the monetary impact can be on our gals, as well as I think the social emotional impact on the feelings. I know our boys feel certainly a little easy too, but especially our girls. So I'll say just, as a mom, I'm not nuts about this idea. I think our kids can look neat in their gym uniforms if it's.
I mean, they can wear their shirts underneath their uniform shirts underneath their gym shirts underneath their uniform shirts.
But then you guys get that all bulky and hot.
Yeah, I mean, and again, most of the girls wear shorts underneath their skirts anyway.
Some of those skirts already have a short built in. And then in
Oh, the
winter-
sports, yeah, I forgot about the
winter,
sports.
they're wearing leggings. I think the impact is gonna be mostly on our girls at an age where every day they look at their hands, so already like what they look like, and I think you can capture my characteristics in front of people.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, my kids don't even wear gym uniforms, they wear regular uniforms for their gym.
We do that after the,
I know, some of the boys, luckily. So, yeah, it's something we're still working all that
I
out,
wish there
so.
could be some more conversation around it.
Yeah, we can, and we don't have to do it now, because I know not everyone's in junior high. This goal,
Okay, to add two things. We actually do change for dance, so I know that you use the apple salt for
Okay.
dance. I know that's something that could be worked out. Another thing is I was in high school not that long ago, so I was teaching for both.
Rub it in already.
For both PE and for dance, so I pretty much did it every single day. What I found actually very helpful was sort of, I think they're called stand-up still, like those Nike ones.
Oh, yeah, my
So
daughter.
like left in, they can easily go under the skirt. I did it for my high school skirt, wore it every day under there. Then I also wore like a tank top with it, and it was very easy to put my gym clothes over it. So
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if anybody's concerned if that would help.
Thanks. Yes.
I know that I understand there to be quite a fair chunk of money going into for the parish or TEPA or Milias of money that only interest will be pulled off of, but has there been at the finance committee level thoughts of how to use some of that money to improve, like a STEM room that we used to have, or the bathrooms that keep overflowing, like, are there?
The wall is falling apart
laws
over there.
coming off for the
There is. So we, I don't think anybody's here with that. We did a whole walkthrough of the school about a month ago, finding the areas that needed a little bit sprucing up. Bathrooms are obviously one of them, the wall over there has some tiles. We're waiting on the money from the building sales because of the appeal process, we don't have it. So, we're planning what we need to fix. We just haven't planned how we're going to do it yet until that money gets released. But it's out there and hopefully it's sooner than later. I don't know how long the appeals take. I've heard a couple of years, but I don't know. I haven't had experience on that one. I'm just hearing that. Yes.
So going back to the electives, I'm surprised to hear that 8th grade has to take the high school 101 readiness course. And my surprise is in that, why isn't that happening as part of all of junior high curriculum?
Because it's specifically geared for 8th graders who are, and what they're going to experience in their high school. So, obviously we're preparing them academically and how to study and all of that, but this is geared, and they do a little bit specifics for their high school. So I think one of the lessons they talk about each of their individual high schools, and they have to go do some research on, what does your schedule look like, or what athletics or clubs is your school like? So it's really honed in on some of the things that they will experience at their high school rather than the general, study skills and things like that. So that's why we waited till 8th grade. Anything else? All right, well, thank you all for coming. Oh, no, I'm so close.
Are you able to talk about like which teachers are coming back?
Oh, everybody else is coming back, yeah. So just the ones that I mentioned, this, Bosch and this Newsom. Everybody else signed, sealed, and delivered.
Is everyone staying at the same
Yes.
level?
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, well, we're the fifth.
No. Those are 7.
if kindergarten gets split, will this rollout go down to kindergarten?
If kindergarten gets a second class, it's a possibility, yes. And then we would hire for first grade.
And what's the, I'm sorry, the 25?
Well, 25 is yes, and then once we get to 30, we start looking at splitting it. So, and that's again, a decision between Father Mike and then the finance council too. We have to.
It would have to be to 30 before that would happen.
Possibly. I know, it's a very fine line. It's like, well, I can't turn down, I don't want to turn away students. I mean, that's what it comes down to, so.
It's 25 they get waitlisted, right?
Well, that's what we're looking at. Like, I don't want to turn anybody away and then they go somewhere else. So that's, that's that fine line. We're at 24 right now. So once I get that 25 mark, it's, time to pull in Father Mike and the finance council and see what we want to do.
That's like a really big class.
Yes, 25, yeah. And so they would have a full-time aide even if they were at 25.
Yeah.
It's not, a couple hours here. It's Ms. Becker and a full-time aide, definitely. But yeah, get to 30 and have 2 classes of 15 would be ideal. And again, we're looking at long-term too. I'm not just looking at kindergarten. If I have these families and that, in kindergarten, I have another 8 years with them too. So that's part of it that we have to look at. So, yes.
I know this year was kind of a lot of just survival mode, and, planning got pushed to the wayside a bit. As the principal, what, in your opinion, makes us, St. Elizabeth of the Trinity, stand out amongst all other schools in our area and our neighborhood?
Our staff. And I don't know a lot of the other schools, very well. I haven't been able to even visit them. But I have found that this staff is the hardest working, work together group of colleagues that I've worked with in my 20-some years. I won't tell you how old that is, but in all my years of teaching and or being a principal, they've really just gelled. You have staff that have been here forever. We had brand new staff. We had staff that came from Tacawal. We had some from Cornelius. And it was just amazing to see how well that everybody worked together. And I truly believe that if anybody were to come in and we're able to just sit down and see them at a faculty meeting or see them work, we would feel that same way. So that's definitely, I think, is a huge draw for our families. I think, word of mouth and hearing about our staff. I mean, I have people who say, oh yeah, I had Mr. Weech's, when I was a kid, or so-and-so had Mr. Weech, or so-and-so had Mrs. Gold. We have that stability here with our staff too. Again, it was a little mixed up with the merger, but we have teachers who have been here. Miss Gold is going to be starting her 40th year in the fall. I know. So that says a lot about our school. And I think the school community, I mean, I was amazed this past month at how the community came together. Not going to say it was for the greatest reason, but I'm really amazed at how well everybody, pulled together and just really supported staff and myself and the parish and the school. And I think that, again, that's saying a lot about us. Now I want to see it use that enroll and run with that school, that unity that we found, and run with it and really build St. Elizabeth to be a true school community, because I really think we can. There's just been so many changes, but still seeing everybody still here, I think, again, says a lot about St. Elizabeth, because people took a chance and joined us, and people took a chance and stayed with us. So that, I think, is a true testament to what St. Elizabeth is and what it can be. Okay, 7 o'clock, perfect time. And it's getting dark now. I thank you all for coming. Again, next year I hope to do this in earlier in May, because everyone's tired and just wants to go home and pack their lunch for the very last time. No uniforms, and put their kids to bed for the very last time. So I appreciate it. I thank you all for a great school year. I know that next year is going to be even better, and I'm really getting forward to knowing more parents. Now that I, got to know a lot of the kids, I'm really looking forward to getting to know more parents and having you in our building more often. So enjoy the evening. Have a good summer. If I don't see you, I'll be here. I'm here most of the summer. So if you ever need anything, you know how to find me. So grab your sign on the way out. All right, that's a wrap. Oh, did we have any questions, Mike?
No, we had none.
Oh, good.
I kept asking.
It was